Yeah, this goes down as one of the craziest developments of 2026. So make sure you guys smash the living crap out of Sophia, the goddess of rebirth, so you guys do not miss out on more Oscar. Never in 100 years of this game did I think I would see Sophia be a consistent target that you could actually work with. Now, a couple of things to take away with Sophia here. There has been one other iteration of a strategy that I have seen years ago that developed this. Sophia is also very unique because it banishes a face-up Ritual Fusion Synchron and Exceed from anywhere on the field. So this can actually use your opponent's cards to summon this. And of course, you can't summon it by otherwise. And this card's special summon cannot be negated. And when this card is special summon, banish all other cards. Both players' hands, fields, and graveyards, and cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this effect's activation. This is basically the end of the dual terminal world before we see like the great resetting that actually ends up happening with this. So it is not only just a lore card, it is a powerhouse of a monster that the clown crew deck can actually access. Because once again, I mean, that deck is already pulling out all of the different extra deck types, and the only real stipulation and requirements that it just says really no fun from the extra deck. But that's fine. That's what Sophia is here to do. And also Sophia is running on a level 11. So I personally think that it's crazy to see the dual terminal version of this exploding up and actually hitting a $50 threshold. But you got people in the community and in the market right now that believe that the clown deck is relevantly going to be able to do something with Sophia. I cannot wait because this is mind-bogglingly cool to actually see Sophia being relevant. Now, I got to talk about some of these old cards, and I am eventually going to make a video talking about the top cards we want to see reprinted this year. But we got to address the elephant in the room with all of these really weird cards that haven't seen reprints, like the Invader from a Different Dimension, you know, Soul Hunter, the Mavelus, all of these really random fusion monsters that Konami has actually, some of them have gotten reprinted. I mean, look at the the Soul Sand or whatever its name was, the Mystic Sand, that one. You know, Konami will eventually, some of them, if they come into play or they know that they're going to come into play, they have done reprints for. But the problem is when these cards are paywalled behind one, some of them were 1 to 2 per case, like of a box. Like you go through 100 OTS packs, or excuse me, 100 champion packs, 100 Astro packs. Some of those cards were limited to some of the craziest short printed numbers that we had actually seen. And now, you know, these cards are like literal unobtainium. And I mean, spending $18 for a soul, who wants to do that? All right. Now, I mean, how often is this going to come up? Well, it depends, you know. Do I need a level 6 Fiend monster that I can bring off of Ready Fusion? I mean, it really just depends. These are the niche options, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Has taught us one thing or another. If you're looking for a niche card that has not had a reprint, you are going to be paying for it. And truly, the Champion Pack, the Astro Pack, the Tournament Pack cards that were exclusive to those packs that really serve no extra purpose in the current meta do exist at that collector's premium. So I just wanted to plug that in here because I find that to be very interesting, to say the least. Next up is Windup Arsenal Zenmayo. So this has been kind of an interesting recent addition that's been popping up because guess what, everybody? You want a tool set to be able to handle some of the craziness that Draco Tail is doing, right? Because Draco Tail setting all of these back row is really, really good. Now, Windup Zenmayo says, once returned, detach and exceed material from this card. Target 2 set cards on the field and destroy them. I'm going to be very honest with you here. This is a very, very specific scenario card. One, you cannot do this when your opponent only has 1 because it does not say target up to 2. you are going to have to do this when there are exactly 2 on the field. So if your opponent actually, let's use, for example, they set the horn, they set the graveyard control, they set the spell in the game. All right. If you summon the Azuna in defense mode, or you summon the Yokul in defense mode with the secondary monster, do your searches because horn can only interrupt attack mode. Then you make the Zenmayo in defense mode, then you can go ahead and actually pick off the spell and the graveyard interruptions. You have control options with this. It's a pretty interesting tech choice, to say the least. I'd not really seen Crystron wanting to use this, but the more the Draco Tail has just kind of gained its popularity, and it's been kind of standing at the apex recently as one of those decks that, you know, does look pretty strong to play against, then yeah, Crystron has to adapt to finding different ways to be able to control things. So this is what we're dealing with now. You have a pop 2, by the way, it can target any 2 set cards. So technically against Enneacraft, you can also get some little control in there. Hey man, take what you can get. Card seems pretty decent. Let's talk about Enneacraft. So yesterday we got the entire arsenal of Enneacraft. Actually, later today, we just got done filming an episode of the Saturday Chronicles too. So you will have Enneacraft versus Fallen of Albaz this afternoon. We were actually going to do Sky Striker versus Albaz, but the new Enneacraft cards got revealed, and I was like, I straight just ran out. I'm like, I'm so excited. I've played a decent amount of Enneacraft online, at least in the beginning stages of the deck. I'm still a little bit off on certain sequencing and like the correct board state you're supposed to go on, but the new cards definitely, we've seen some interesting buyouts on the Enneacraft stuff. I do think that the Enneacraft stuff is very viable, at least in terms of, you know, what you want to do with the deck. You have 3 more searchers, which good luck, by the way, ever achieving that effect. You got a Tachyon Transmigration that bottom down negates, which actually is pretty good. But I think the 3 extra field spells that can also reset your stuff, I think that card was the icing on the cake. Because it also allows you to kind of work underneath Droll and Lockbird because it places directly from the deck. So it at least gives you the option to make a minimalistic board. It's not the greatest, but I mean, you kind of take your losses with the Droll and Lockbird thing, right? Like if your opponent actually has the Droll, you wash your hands with it and you call it a day. That's the situation you find yourself in while playing Craft right now. Does the support help the deck? Yes. Is the deck a tier 1 creature? I think Konami had to be very careful with how they chose to approach this. But I mean, once again, there's been plenty of supporting buyouts that have been happening on the higher end of the market. People do like Enneacraft. It is definitely a deck of all time. Now, speaking of Enneacraft, we have the counter. Light of Intervention. So the OCG ruling is that the opponent, if I flip up Light of Intervention, Light of Intervention states monsters cannot be played face down. Monsters set in defense position are played face up on the field and are considered summoned. The ruling with this in the OCG is you cannot even attempt to reveal an Enneacraft in hand to set it. It is actually a Light of Intervention is a 100% you're going to get OTK'd. Your O code, pick your cards up, walk away. You are not recovering from this. That is what it is like to walk into the current Light of Intervention situation, which is crazy because Enneacraft is all hyped up right now. It's looking very good. And then literally you have the counter to this. There are plenty of other cards that can also interact with set monsters. This is not the only one. Yu-Gi-Oh! Did a pretty good job at making all of these different Floodgate cards that would be able to just detour and ruin certain strategies. I guess that's kind of the crazy part about this game is the more time has gone on, the more that those generic cards have created problem scenarios. But as we see here, folks, Light of Intervention looking very, very strong as a counter to the deck. So all for all, I mean, you get good support, and then Konami taketh with an old ancient card because that's just how it works. I don't know how the TCG is going to handle this ruling. Like usual, ask your head judge before, you know, walking around trying to do some crazy stuff. So please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.